Isabella and Catherine are having tea in the castle garden. They admit the place feels different since Letitia left and mention it's a shame about her separation because she made a lovely pair with the prince. However, they must accept that the new pair is now Brianna, who has to endure all the severe lessons. Sebastian, one of the castle employees, urgently seeks them out. He informs them that Queen Laura requires their presence to recount what happened during the night of the ball. At that moment, a scream interrupts the conversation. It's Brianna, struggling through the lessons. Meanwhile, Letitia lies on the grass, enjoying the day with Lily. Letitia finds it hard to believe she can once again do something as simple as lying on the grass and rolling around. Letitia decides to go fishing at the river. She noticed that when she was engaged to the prince, Lily constantly lectured her, but since the engagement broke off, Lily has stopped being so strict. Upon reaching the river, Letitia selects the hook for the occasion, places it on her rod, and after a few movements, the hook falls into the water. Immediately, a big fish bites. Letitia tries to reel it in, but a voice whispers in her ear, "How much fun you are having." Lily gets startled and falls backward, but someone manages to catch her as the fish leaps over them. Letitia is thrilled to see she caught a fish and celebrates with Prince Clark. It takes Letitia a moment to realize that her former fiancé is the one holding her. Letitia pulls away from his arms and asks what he's doing there. The prince simply smiles at her. Letitia lights a small fire, skewers a couple of small fish, and places them over the flames. Prince Clark asks why she released the large fish she caught. Letitia explains she does that when she catches too much or if the fish is still young, as she's not greedy and takes only what she needs to eat. Letitia offers him one of the fish but warns that it's hot. The prince accepts, but as he grabs it, he burns his hand and hurts his mouth when he bites it. Letitia suggests letting it cool first. The prince finally manages to taste it and admits it's delicious, wondering why they don't prepare it like that at the castle. He complains that everything served there is cold. Letitia explains that it's done to prevent burning their noble tongues. Prince Clark concedes she may be right and continues enjoying his fish, while Letitia still doesn't understand what he wants from her. Back home, her employees are surprised by the large fish she caught. Letitia explains she tried a new hook and they bit immediately. Her friends recognize how great the hooks are and suggest she sell them. Letitia thinks it's a good idea and plans to make more to sell at Sam's shop. Hearing she makes them herself, Prince Clark becomes alarmed and warns her she might hurt herself. The employees, seeing Prince Clark and not recognizing him, worriedly ask Letitia who the strange man is. Letitia assures them he's not dangerous. Letitia goes to town, where it's clear that the townspeople know, respect, and adore her. She stops to play with the children in the village while Prince Clark waits outside the shop. Sam, the shop owner, tells the prince that since Letitia returned, the village has become livelier and full of joy. Despite being noble, she has never treated them with prejudice, which is why there isn't a single person in the village who doesn't adore her. Clark watches Letitia dancing in the middle of the town and now realizes that by being engaged to her, he was taking her away from all the villagers. A dog named John looks at him pleadingly. Clark pets the dog and assures him he'll do whatever it takes to make her happy. At sunset, they return to Letitia's home, and Clark offers to carry her belongings. But Letitia, somewhat indignant, refuses, warning that she never lets anyone carry her precious fishing gear. Letitia knows she never had the makings of a princess because she loves roaming around, climbing trees, and fishing. She prefers nature to fashion and admits she also has a foul mouth. Nothing makes her happier than being outdoors, and she worries the prince might ruin it all. Clark is surprised to see sheep and horses in a pen. Letitia explains they are hers, and that's her stable. Clark asks if the horses also graze there. Letitia responds that they do, since the grass in those meadows is very nutritious and helps them grow strong and healthy. Clark is amazed by how much Letitia knows, but she responds that she only repeats what she hears and confesses her dream is to live in the countryside. Prince Clark is about to explain the reason for his visit, but is interrupted by a large white horse approaching to sniff Letitia, then staring intently at Clark. Letitia explains that the horse is curious about strangers. Clark says he's never seen such a large horse, pets it, and acknowledges its beauty. Letitia watches the scene curiously until a flock of ducks interrupts, demanding food. She realizes for the first time that the prince is quite handsome. Seeing him in the countryside, the boy seems to shine with his own light. Clark notices her gaze and asks if something is wrong. Letitia asks what brought him to her village. Clark replies that he needed fresh air. Letitia suspects he's avoiding the question and must have a better reason. Clark comments that he now sees a different side of her and thinks she hasn't changed at all since those days. Letitia doesn't understand what he means. Clark explains that they are still engaged, the wedding is still planned, and he will come for her soon. Before Letitia can object, Clark bids farewell and rides away on his horse. Letitia enters her house and immediately calls for Lily, asking her to elope with her. Lily responds that they are both women, but Letitia retorts that love transcends gender. Lily reminds her T here is no such love between them and informs her that Nadir has come to visit. Letitia goes to find him in the house library. Nadir scolds her for stomping in, calling it bad manners. Letitia dismisses his concern and demands to know if her engagement still stands. Nadir calmly replies that it does. Letitia demands an explanation, and Nadir tells her that Prince Clark hasn't changed his mind. Letitia asks what will happen with the prince's other fiancé. Nadir urges his sister to think carefully and recall that the prince never officially ended their engagement. Letitia recalls the night of the ball when the prince said he would have another companion that evening, and she assumes the engagement was over. Letitia realizes the prince never explicitly broke off the engagement, meaning she is still engaged to him. Frustrated, she shouts and demands to know why he was with the other woman. Nadir suggests the prince wanted to make her jealous and enjoyed her reaction. Letitia questions how he knows this. Their conversation is interrupted by Brianna, who has been sitting in the room since the beginning and is now fed up with being ignored. Upon seeing her, Letitia recognizes her from the ball but forgets her name and calls her Iguana. Nadir corrects her, saying her name is Brianna. Letitia asks what she's doing there. Nadir explains that Brianna wanted to speak with her, so he offered to bring her. Brianna pleads with Letitia to resume the engagement, explaining that since her departure, Brianna has been forced to endure all the etiquette lessons. Letitia insists Brianna is now the prince's fiancée, but Brianna responds that she has no interest in a man who loves another woman. However, the worst part of it all is Layla. Letitia sympathizes, but when Brianna begs her to return, Letitia encourages her to be strong and endure the lessons to become queen. Brianna insists that won't happen, informing her that an official announcement has been made. Letitia asks what the statement said, and Brianna reveals that the prince declared he's only willing to have children with her. Letitia's parents also arrive unexpectedly, and no one knows the reason for their visit. Letitia greets her mother, but she scolds her for abandoning her lessons. Her father tries to calm her mother, suggesting they enjoy their reunion first. Her mother chastises him for being too lenient. Brianna notes that Letitia's family is far too cheerful and noisy. That night, Letitia dons a cloak, determined to escape the marriage. As she descends the stairs, she discovers her guests are still awake. Nevertheless, she manages to sneak outside and reach the main door. Once outside, she believes she has escaped, but someone steps on her cloak, causing her to fall to the ground. It's Brianna, who refuses to let Letitia shirk her responsibilities. If Letitia doesn't return, Brianna will be stuck with the infernal lessons. Letitia begs her to let her go, but Brianna remains firm. Letitia questions whether Brianna seeks to marry into wealth. Brianna is taken aback by Letitia's questions but can't hide her interest. Letitia promises to speak with her brother to arrange a marriage if Brianna lets her go. Nadir is the heir to a duke, 22 years old, intelligent, athletic, tall, and handsome though lacking personality. Letitia notes he's still a good match. Brianna agrees to the deal and sets Letitia free. Letitia celebrates and informs her that her brother's favorite dessert is lightly sweetened muffins before running off. Nadir opens the door, having overheard everything. Letitia runs to the river, feeling free once again until she falls into the prince's arms. Clark explains he returned because he forgot to ask what color she wanted for her wedding dress. If you've made it this far into the video, don't forget to write the word exquisito in the comment section. Thank you so much, and see you in the next video.